Okay, picture this. Have you ever imagined having a real-life superpower? Like a hidden ability that lets you silently control pretty much anyone, completely under the radar? We're talking about convincing your boss, persuading a close friend, or even getting a total stranger to follow your lead without them having the absolute slightest clue it's happening. Well, this isn't magic, guys. This is actually the darkest side of psychology. And the terrifying reality is that the world's top leaders, massive influencers, and really powerful operators use these exact same psychological pillars to control human behavior on a massive scale. So today, in this explainer, we are going to completely unpack exactly how they do it.
Look, before we really dive in, I gotta be straight with you. These concepts represent what you might call forbidden knowledge. This explainer is strictly for educational purposes, to help you understand the invisible forces at play in our everyday lives, and really just for your own self-improvement and defense. Like the quote on screen says, if you have a fragile mind, it might actually be best to just skip this explainer right now. Because honestly, once you step into the world of dark psychology and truly see how the human mindset and emotions are manipulated, it is very, very hard to look at the world the same way again. All right, let's start the countdown. Kicking things off with trick number 5, the illusion of choice.
So as humans, we fiercely value our independence, right? We desperately want to feel like we are the ones in control of our own decisions. Well, smart operators know this perfectly, so they never try to control you directly. Instead, they just design the environment around you. Take a super simple Friday night out. If you just ask, hey, let's go out, you're inviting a simple yes or no answer, which totally risks rejection. They could easily just say, nah, I don't really feel like it. But asking KFC or biryani is absolute magic. When you phrase it like that, the other person's brain literally stops thinking about whether they want to go out at all. They're suddenly entirely focused on where to go. The overarching decision has secretly already been made by you. They are literally just picking a pre-approved option.
Now, don't be fooled into thinking this is just some clever little conversational trick to use on your friends. This is exactly how the corporate and political worlds operate on a gigantic scale. Massive brands and really savvy politicians rarely give you a simple yes or no. Instead, they offer you option A or option B. So you're sitting there thinking you're making a free, independent choice at the ballot box or the checkout counter, but the decision was designed for you all along. They are essentially pulling the strings, making you feel completely free while strictly setting the boundaries of your entire reality.
Moving right along to trick number 4, the reverse trap.
The human mind is truly such a strange and fascinating thing. I mean, the exact moment something is forbidden, it instantly becomes like 10 times more attractive. Think back to when you were a kid. If someone told you, do not touch the hot stove, your hand almost magnetically wanted to reach out for it, right? The reverse trap exploits this deep-seated behavioral quirk by triggering a person's natural, innate need to prove their independence. Humans have massive egos. If someone suddenly whispers to you, whatever you do, do not look behind you right now, what is the absolute first thing your brain screams at you to do? Exactly. You desperately want to look back. Or if a title says, don't read this, it's not for you, your curiosity just goes into absolute overdrive. It's silent influence completely bypassing your logical defenses. Let's think about how you can actually apply this to getting things done in your own life. Suppose you really need a coworker or a friend to handle a super difficult task. If you beg or demand, they might refuse or just end up resenting you. But what if you say, you can do anything, you're great at most things, but there's this really tough job. Honestly, it's probably just way too hard for you, so don't even worry about it. Boom, you just woke up their ego. Their immediate internal emotional response is, wait, who says I can't do it? I'll show you. And just like that, they step up and agree to do the hard work entirely on their own. You didn't pressure them at all. You just skillfully applied the reverse trap.
All right, now we're entering slightly darker territory with trick number 3, the guilt trap.
As much as we love to think of ourselves as these entirely rational, logical beings, the truth is, people rarely act on pure logic alone. We are deeply, deeply driven by emotions. And when it comes to psychological control, guilt is an absolute master emotion. Guilt doesn't aggressively force someone to act. Instead, it acts kind of like a mind virus, persuading and pressuring them from within their own head. Imagine asking someone for a massive favor, like, can I borrow your car? Most people will instinctively throw up their boundaries and just say no. But what if you say, hey, remember last time I lent you that 2,000 taka? I actually need a small favor now. I need your car. By avoiding a direct, standalone demand and strategically reminding them of past help, you create this incredibly heavy psychological imbalance. Their brain immediately says, oh man, they helped me before. If I say no right now, I'm going to look terrible. That agonizing feeling is guilt. And smart manipulators speak exactly this way to make you incredibly uncomfortable saying no. And as we hit trick number 2, things get genuinely frightening. False memory planting. So we all really want to trust our own minds, right? We think our memory is like a perfect little video camera, just flawlessly recording our past. But psychological studies show it is shockingly imperfect. Our brains are constantly rewriting, changing, and updating our memories based on new inputs. And the most savvy, dark psychological operators out there know how to literally implant or rewrite what we remember. Let's trace how a classic political maneuver actually weaponizes this. Step 1. A politician with a weak track record stands at a rally and boldly lies, claiming they personally created 5,000 jobs. Step 2. Media pieces pick up that exact soundbite and repeat the claim over and over. Step 3 is where your own psychology turns against you. Through sheer repetition, your brain completely stops fact-checking and verifying. It just starts to feel familiar. And finally, step 4. The lie becomes your perceived truth. You actually think to yourself, oh yeah, I remember hearing they saved those jobs. The manipulator hasn't just changed your opinion. They've literally hacked your memory, leading entire populations to act based on a completely fabricated reality. I really want you to lean in close for this one, which brings us to trick number 1, the power of silence. Silence pretty much goes against everything we are taught about being charismatic or persuasive. But the dark truth of human psychology is that the less you speak, the more absolute control you actually possess. Silence isn't just an absence of noise, guys. It is an active, heavy weapon. Let's do a quick thought experiment. Imagine you're a teenager and you just did something terribly, terribly wrong. You walk into the house, your mother starts screaming and yelling at you. It's unpleasant, sure. But now imagine you walk in and your father is just sitting there, staring at you in complete, unbreakable silence. Which one of those is actually scarier? It's the silence, isn't it? When the other person says absolutely nothing, human nature dictates that our own minds panic. We rush to fill that empty gap with all of our own doubts, our fears, and our deepest insecurities. Just sit with that for a second. Do you feel that slight awkwardness right now? That tension? That urgent, almost desperate desire for me to just start speaking again? Humans naturally cannot tolerate prolonged silence. It creates instant fear, guilt, and immense discomfort. Most people think the loudest talker in the room holds the power. But true psychological power lies with the person who can sit comfortably in the quiet and watch absolutely everyone else squirm. So how do we actually use this for everyday influence? Well, on a standard bargaining scenario, asking, will you give a 30% discount, allows the seller to easily just say no. But try framing it as an assumption. A 30% discount is possible, right? And then you just smile, look them dead in the eye, and stay completely silent. In that agonizing pause, the tension builds entirely on their end. To break the terrible discomfort of the silence that you just created, the other person will very often just crack. They will negotiate against themselves or just say yes, literally making the decision for you solely to make the awkward silence stop.
All right, so we've exposed the 5 pillars of psychological control. From crafting the illusion of choice and setting up those reverse traps, to weaponizing guilt, planting false memories, and wielding the incredibly heavy weight of silence. These aren't just parlor tricks, they are profound, real-world insights into human behavior and mindset. Understanding them gives you a powerful shield against those who might try to manipulate you, and honestly, it reshapes you into a significantly stronger, much more socially aware individual. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought today. Now that you know the rules of the dark game, whose mind will you change first?